Here is what we know about, when I say that Hollywood is out of touch, I mean that Hollywood is seriously out of touch. They're planning a movie that makes no sense, the all-female Lord of the Flies. Why do I think this is important? Because I think that it is important to understand that the left's perverse and weird notion of what exactly men and women are, boys and girls, is exactly that. It's weird and perverse. So if you actually read Lord of the Flies, it is a book about boys becoming men. It is a book about what happens to boys in the absence of civilization. It is a book about the violent nature of particularly men. And it's funny that they'd want to do an all-female version of this, because the fact is that one of the things that feminists are constantly ripping about men is that men are violent, right? This is the routine we got from Hillary Clinton. That if Hillary had been elected president, there would never be another violent thing that happened ever, because all wars in history have been men. You get that routine from the feminists all the time, but now they want to do Lord of the Flies, which is based on physical violence being done between groups. I guess that now that they've done the all-female Ghostbusters, and that was such a smashing success and such a horrible movie, and now Scott McGeehee and David Siegel have made a deal at Warner's to direct a new version of Lord of the Flies. They plan to be faithful to the novel with one major twist. The young students stranded on a remote island who descend into a savage social order will be girls. And so here's what they say. This is quoting Paul Bois over at Daily Wire. David Siegel says, "We want to do a very faithful but contemporized adaptation of the book." First of all, why would you have to do a contemporized adaptation of the book? It's literally a bunch of boys stuck on an island. Does that need a lot of updating? It's not like you're updating Shakespeare or something and you have to update the language. It's not like there are a bunch of cultural totems in Lord of the Flies. Literally, there is a conch shell. That is the entirety of the props in Lord of the Flies. Okay, there's like a pig head. That's pretty much it. I guess they can have Lena, there are the glasses, that's true. Thank you, Taylor. I guess that you could theoretically cast Lena Dunham as Piggy, which might make some sense. But David Siegel says, "We want to do a faithful but contemporized adaptation of the book." It says, "It is a timeless story that is especially relevant today with the interpersonal conflicts and bullying and the idea of children forming a society and replicating the behavior they saw in grown-ups before they were marooned." That really is not what the book is about. The book is really not about that. If you've read the book is really not about them imitating the adults. The point of the book is they get to the island and they realize there are no adults here. We can do whatever we want. That is the first 3 chapters of the book. Have they even read it? The entire point of the book is that man without civilization descends into anarchy and violence. That's the entire point of the stupid book. And the book isn't stupid, but this is ridiculous. McGeehee says, "The subject matter is aggressively suspenseful, and taking the opportunity to tell it in a way that hasn't been told before, with girls rather than boys, is that it shifts things in a way that might help people see the story anew. It breaks away from some of the conventions, the way we think of boys and aggression." We don't think of boys and aggression. Boys are aggressive. Okay, I have a girl and I have a boy. The girl is 3.5 years old. She is calm. She is delightful. She is not aggressive. I have a boy who is 1.5 years old. I love him very much. He is awesome. He also will beat the living crap out of you if you cross him. Okay, he's a boy. That's what they do. That's just what they are. People still talk about the movie and the book from the standpoint of pure storytelling. It is a great adventure story, real entertainment, but it has a lot of meaning embedded in it as well. We've gotten to think about this a while as the rights were worked out, and we're super eager to put pen to paper. So they say this is just ridiculous. Okay, a few things about this that are particularly ridiculous. First of all, boys and girls are not the same. This is one of my pet peeves in film. It's one of the reasons I think I said on the show, Atomic Blonde failed. I think the reason Atomic Blonde failed is because the character could have been a man and there would have been no difference to the story at all. Like legitimately down to the seduction of a woman. Like there's literally no difference in Atomic Blonde between her being a man and her being a woman. Any movie where there's no difference in the main characters, like an action movie that actually implicates the differences between men and women, any movie that focuses on men and women being exactly substitutable, being exactly the same, it just does not work that way. It doesn't work for the viewer because the viewer knows there are differences between boys and girls. Here's the fact, okay? The movie would not work in any real sense because girls do not act the same as boys. Quick question for you. How many physical fights, not like yelling at each other and then crying on the phone fights, like physical fights have most girls been in? Most girls have been in very, very few physical fights, if any. The vast majority of girls that I know haven't been in any physical fights. How many fights have the vast majority of boys been in? The answer is probably greater than 5. Boys, particularly young boys, fight with each other all the time. They have physical fights with each other. Their violence their arguments escalate to physical aggression in short order in a way that girls don't. Girls don't sit around smacking each other in the face, okay? That's not what girls do. When I was in law school, there was a group of guys who would legitimately go to bars, get drunk, and sock each other in the balls. This was like their way of having fun. Okay, the idea that girls, like, I've never heard of girls doing this. Okay, guys are much more aggressive than girls, which is why guys join the army and murder each other. This is why the vast majority of murderers in every culture in history have been men. The idea that women and men are exactly the same is stupid. They don't even group the same way. You know what would happen if a bunch of girls got stuck on an island together? First of all, they would actually share and talk about their feelings because they like that stuff. Guys don't like that stuff. Half of the beginning of Lord of the Flies is the guys don't want to share feelings, and Piggy wants to share feelings, so they murder him. Okay, so that's legitimately what happens in the book. If a girl tries to share her feelings in an island with a bunch of other girls who are just shipwrecked, they will sit around and bond over this. That's what they will do. Okay, beyond that, girls don't tend to break into giant groups. They don't break into giant tribes. There have been studies that have shown this. There was one from the National Institute of Health that came out just recently. And what they found is that girls actually like to get together in sort of best friend forever circumstances. They have a very close-knit circle of friends, right? Girls will have their best friend, and that's it, right? Guys will get together in packs, and they roam around in packs. That's what they do. Because guys are basically just chimpanzees, like male chimpanzees. They walk around in packs. That's what happens in Lord of the Flies. They break down into packs, and then they fight each other. Because men are looking for physical safety from other men, and so they band together to provide that physical safety for one another. Girls, in the absence of guys, are not deeply worried about other girls physically attacking them, and so they only need somebody with whom they can spiritually and mentally bond. That's what they are looking for. This is why guys don't understand girls and girls don't understand guys. When guys get angry and when guys get upset, guys get silent. When girls get angry and upset, they get very talkative. Okay, girls actually want to talk about their feelings. They want to talk about what's upsetting them. Guys tend to go quiet, and then girls are like, why won't you talk to me? It's like, because this is what guys do. Guys and girls are largely, this doesn't mean every guy and every girl. These are generalizations, but these generalizations exist for a reason and are scientifically backed. Okay, there's a study conducted by researchers at the National Institute of Mental Health and Georgia State University, and what they found is that girls, again, like to get together in one-on-one relationships with BFFs, and boys are more attuned to group dynamics and competition. That's not something that girls are that interested in engaging in. Beyond that, boys don't like sharing, right? Girls like sharing. Okay, this is according to the APA, the American Psychological Association. Quote, research has long shown that boys are less likely to disclose thoughts and feelings with one another than girls are. Popular psychology had posited that boys' reticence to talk about feelings was a fear of being embarrassed or ridiculed by peers. But new research in press at child development suggests differently. Rather than feeling embarrassed, it finds, boys perceive that sharing is simply a waste of time. Yes, this is correct. This is what men think. When people want to share feelings, we're like, shut up. No one cares. Okay, when girls want to share feelings, they think sharing feelings makes social bonds stronger. Girls are right on this and guys are wrong, but guys are right that if you spend all your time sharing your feelings, nothing gets done. Okay, but this is why you have societal breakdown in Lord of the Flies, because it's not a bunch of guys sitting around and talking about how sad it is that some of their friends just drowned and how they wish they could get back to civilization and how much they miss their parents. It's a bunch of guys going, I don't want to talk about that crap, let's go kill a pig. Right, that's what Lord of the Flies is. So, the reason I'm upset about this is, once again, Hollywood is trying to promote this idea that boys and girls are the same. Boys and girls are not the same, and people who say that boys and girls are the same are super, super stupid in every possible way. Boys and girls are not the same. Boys can't become girls. Girls can't become boys. There are some boys who tend toward more feminine behavior and some girls who tend toward more masculine behavior, but on the whole, there are massive differences, and just plopping girls into boys' roles doesn't do the trick. It's so annoying. I mean, can you imagine, like, how about an all-male beaches? Right? I mean, as long as we're going to be just substituting sexes, how about we just do all-male beaches, you know, with like Bette Midler? How bad would that movie be? Right? About as bad as an all-female Lord of the Flies. Like, do you really want a movie that has in it Bette Midler and Barbara Hershey and Mayim Bialik, and then instead you have like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly Stallone? They're just sitting around talking about their feelings, and then there's a picture on the piano of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly Stallone in the poster for the film. Yeah, I didn't think so either. God, people, can we understand that human beings like watching human beings act like the actual human beings that they see in real life? They don't want women who act like men. It does not say women can't be action stars, right? If you watch Aliens, then you see Ripley, right? You see Sigourney Weaver picking up the mantle of what could be a male action part, but the whole point is because everyone else is dead and there's no one there to save her, right? She has to fulfill that role. This happens in real life too, and that's why it rings true. Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2, she's also forced into the circumstance. Like the transition between Linda Hamilton in Terminator 1 and Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2 is really fascinating. In Terminator 1, she's a very feminine character who's being protected by this guy who has come to protect her unborn child, right? protect her from being murdered. And so she's a very feminine character. In Terminator 2, there's no one there to protect her, and so she has to step up and do it herself. That's not the same thing as saying that Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2 should have been Linda Hamilton in Terminator 1 and told the guy who came back from the future to go screw himself, she can protect herself. That'd be a dumb movie. No one would watch that movie because it'd be stupid. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show.